When I go hitchhiking in the summertime, usually it's the summertime, I don't have any destination in mind. So it doesn't matter where I go. And one of the things I love is when people pull over and they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Where are you going?" I run these events called synchronicity walks, and they basically is to help people really recalibrate their nervous systems, to remember to enter this great flow of life. You know, in this, one of my most powerful teachers was synchronicity from a very young age. When I left home, age 17, I started dabbling in a little bit of hitchhiking. Age 20, I went more than dabbling. I hitchhiked all the way from Florida all the way to Alaska and everywhere in between. And I used to hold signs up if I was doing a long haul hitch, like from Florida to maybe Wisconsin as an example. I'd want to put something like Wisconsin, because then instead of getting a bunch of little rides, you get longer rides. But what I was finding was I didn't always have to depend on that stuff. This thing, synchronicity, started showing me that there was another highway to travel, if you like. And it was one based in trust. Trusting that we are being guided, that we are being nudged. And it's learning to follow those signs of synchronicity like a breadcrumb trail. And that's what, within my first year of full hardcore hitchhiking, I had learned how to do. Because reality really opened itself to me in a really big way. So now fast forward 20 years or so, well, maybe more than that. I'm mid-50s now, and I still like to hitchhike every year. But these days, when I hold up signs for hitchhiking, it's vastly different from what I used to do at that age, in my early 20s, where I'd hold up a sign, said New York City. Now I hold up really bizarre, weird stuff, because I don't want to get in the car with somebody who wants to talk about football or politics. I want to get right to the nub of things. And on these journeys, when I go hitchhiking in the summertime, usually it's the summertime, I don't have any destination in mind. So it doesn't matter where I go. And one of the things I love is when people pull over and they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Where are you going?" And they're either like, "They're out of there." I also, the signs now might be something like a classic lucid dream practice technique, something like, "Are you awake or asleep right now?" Big folding sign, but I open it up next to the motorway. "Are you awake or asleep right now?" A lot of people just drive and they won't know what the hell that is, and that's fine by me. But it's those unique individuals who will know what that means, who then pull over, and then we have a very deep down the rabbit hole conversation. They get to learn about me, I get to learn about them, and it's just a fantastic lift. I remember once I held up this sign that said astral planes. So now we're talking about the afterlife communities, the pre-life communities, and I thought, let's see where this goes. So I'm holding up this sign, and I was just south of London, not too far from Gatwick Airport, and this guy pulls over, rolls down his window, he's go, "You trying to get to Gatwick Airport?" And I looked at the sign again, and I was like, "Oh, no, wrong kind of planes." And I said to him, "I'm all good," because I felt this was not my ride. And so I waved him on. And maybe another 10 minutes went by, and another car pulled over, and this young lad rolled down his window, and it just felt right. He didn't need to really say anything. You could just tune in, or at least I could. And I tuned in. I was like, this is my ride. I got in the car, and we're driving, and we introduced each other, and he then made that socially acceptable question, "What do I do for a living?" And I thought, well, where do I go for this? Because I teach lucid dreaming, I teach about astral projection, meditation, manifestation, you name it. If it's something related to altered states, I teach it. And so I thought to myself, I don't really want to go for the jugular here. I don't want to freak him out, so I'll maybe start with lucid dreaming. So maybe I took 10, 15 minutes to really ground him in the idea of lucid dreaming. And then I went quiet, and I let him sort of think about it, and he did. You could see the wheels turning. And then he finally said to me, So let me get this straight. Because so I'm a mechanic, and I love tinkering with cars. I love customizing cars. So are you saying if I get practiced enough, if I practice this thing enough, and if I'm consistent, on occasion I might get lucid in a dream to where I can then detail cars and get really creative? And it's like it happens. People have been known to do very profound things within the dream state, very creative things. And so then he went quiet again, and you can see the wheels are turning again, and then he asked me a few more questions, and I took him on a bit of a journey to where, what I usually do with people I don't know very well, I tune in to where they're at, and then I kind of take them to the edge of their comfort zone, maybe just a little bit outside their comfort zone, and then I don't go any further. Because I think this can be a mistake, going too far. I think it's PQing somebody's interest and then getting out of the way. And so that's what I did, or at least that's what I thought I did on that occasion. And we came to the point where my ride was ending, and he pulled over onto, the side of the road. We must have been on A road at that point. And as I was gathering my stuff, he literally switched off the ignition, and I knew he wasn't going to park there for the night. So he turned off his car, and suddenly I had this feeling like I was a surgeon in the emergency room, and I'd sliced him open energetically. And I couldn't just walk away with him wide open. Same as a surgeon wouldn't do. Here, oh, my mobile phone's ringing, I'll be back. It's just like that doesn't happen. So I felt I have a responsibility here. So I just put my bag back down, and I sat there having that sort of sacred pause, if you will. Not to speak when it doesn't call for speaking at that moment. I knew he really had to gather himself. And then he said to me, so I mentioned I'm a mechanic, and he said, I've worked at this place for a few years, and never once have I asked to go home early. Never once have I gone to the boss and said, can I go home early today? He said, I did that today. And here you are. And man, his mind was like really blown apart. He's really trying to figure all that out. I don't think he knew the word synchronicity in the way that we know the word synchronicity. Coincidence would have been maybe what he was grappling with. And he said, look, if I would have finished my day as usual, do you think by chance we would have still met? I said to him, I think synchronicity is very much like sat-nav, GPS. We program the destination, because with synchronicity, you set this intention, and in that moment, you align yourself with a precise moment in time and space with synchronicity. You just have to follow through. You have to show up. Once you've made that intention and you've locked that in, you just have to trust. And so I said, I've had experiences where I've been on the side of the road longer than I knew that I've normally been on the side of the road. It doesn't take me long to get lifts, but on occasion, it might be an hour, and I'm like, why am I here for so long? And then I think the penny drops. The person I'm supposed to get a lift from, they're running late. They haven't left yet. And so I said something along those lines to him. And I said, so yeah, it was possible. Maybe we would have still met. And then he went quiet again. And he said, I would usually go home after work. I would grab some beers from the fridge. I'd sit down in front of Xbox, and I would play video games for the rest of the night until it's time to go to sleep. He said, I've never had a conversation like this in my life. And my friends and I would never even know where to start having a conversation like this. We've never had one like this. So yeah, his mind was completely blown wide open. But I trust these experiences, that they serve a purpose. That was his time to wake up from the matrix. So I gave him my card, and I said, now I'm here at the end of the phone if you need me. So in a way, I stitched him up the best I could, and off I went into the night. This is the kind of stuff this is my world, and I fully live it, and I fully engage with it. I think it was that same hitchhiking trip, I held up another lucid dreaming related sign, and this guy pulls over, and he was a lucid dreamer, and no ordinary lucid dreamer. Literally, from the moment his head hits the pillow, he goes straight into the dream state, no delta sleep at all. He wakes up very tired, but like 8 hours of lucid dreaming. And he said, my girlfriend thinks I've got problems, and I said, go to the doctor and get some medication. I was like, don't you fucking dare get medication. I said, there are ways to get some delta sleep without being medicated, but tell me more. Again, sacred pause for me, time to listen. And he said, I'm an engineer. I have a notepad next to my bed, and when I go into the dream state, if I have anything at work that we're working on where we can't get answers, then I get the answers in the dream. I'm fully awake in the dream as we are now. And I was like, dude, you're preaching to the choir. And he said, if we have any challenges, I'll work there and I'll get the answers I need. I'll wake up and I'll take notes. He said, sometimes we need a particular tool that doesn't exist, so I'll go into the dream state, fully conscious. I will create the tool in the dream, fully work it out. I've got my free research and development department in my dream state. I wake up, I draw everything. Within a week, it's made, the tool's made, and it's being used on projects. It was such a pleasure to meet someone who was really engaged with the dream state, with the deeper part of himself. Knowing the power that was available to him, the creativity that was available to him. This is available to all of us. You just have to trust that it is. It is part of your journey. You would not be here otherwise. Even for those of you who were like recommended, I've come along, we'll see what this is all about. This Todd guy, this Falcon guy, what's this all about? Something brought you here, and it wasn't just a friend, wasn't just your partner. It's more than that, because the universe works in very creative ways. It uses other people as conduits for us to go deeper when it's our time. Make no mistake about that. So I know from my experience, you're all exactly where you need to be right now. So welcome. Thank you for trusting to come. And let's see where this goes. You ready?